Happy New Year. I love this time of the year. I love the Christmas season and getting to see the magic with my kids especially. But I love the New Year's. I love the idea of resolutions and growing and becoming a better version of myself. I want to be the best father and husband and follower of Jesus that I can. And so I really love this time of the year because it just, for me, it represents change and like a clean slate and a fresh start. And so my wife and I will usually, we'll pick a word of the year, so one thing that we're going to focus on, and she'll pick something and I'll pick something, and I haven't figured out mine yet for this year. But it's just, in the past I've used words like discipline or generosity or patience, just things that I've been weak in and knew I needed to grow in. And so I would buy books kind of surrounding those topics and just try to learn and grow as best I could. And so when I came across this verse that I want to share with you, I love the idea behind it because it says in Luke 2:52, the full story I think is 40 to 52, but in Luke 2:52 it says that Jesus grew, which I love that, but he grew in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and men. It talks about four key areas that Jesus decided to grow in. And that's why I think it's the perfect New Year's verse, because it's the first like real meaningful interaction that we have with Jesus outside of like the baby years, him coming and what that meant for us. And he just talked about that he was going, it just talks about how he was just going to grow in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and men. And wisdom's just figuring out how life works best. Just some things work better than others, right? There's just old wisdom, like you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. There's in the Bible that there's a couple of wisdom books in the Old Testament, right? Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, and in the New Testament there's the book of James, and it's just examples of how life just works best, and so. I love that was as a young man, Jesus decided he needed to grow in wisdom. And it says that he needed to grow in stature. He was growing physically. He grew up as either not a blacksmith. I don't even know where that came from. He grew up as a carpenter or as a stonemason. And so he wasn't like that dainty, kind of pretty guy that you see in the pictures that are hanging in churches. He grew up rough and around a rough crowd, blue collar. He went to work with his dad. And he probably had crooked fingers from getting broken as he was like a carpenter, a stonemason, and so he grew physically, and that's part of stature. The other part of stature is like his reputation. Like sometimes we'll say things like, we teach our kids that they need to be the bigger person. It's the same kind of idea, or they got big shoes to fill. Jesus, all of this is a part of the stature that Jesus said this is important, and he needed to grow in it. And then it's this last little line. It's two things that kind of gets combined into one. He grew in favor with God and with men. And I love this. I didn't really understand it until I had kids of my own. The idea of Jesus having to grow in favor with his heavenly Father, with God. And when I had kids of my own, I discovered that I love them. I try to love them like God did. Like there's nothing they can do to make me love them any less. But some days I like them more than others, and if you've got kids, But to be fair, some days I'm more likable than others, and so it kind of works both ways there. But it says that Jesus grew in favor with God and with men. And I came across this other verse in Matthew chapter 22. It says that one day a man came to Jesus and asked Jesus what was most important, and Jesus put it back on the man. And he says, well, out of all the Old Testament laws, what's most important? And so the reply was to love the Lord your God with all of your heart and your mind and your soul and your strength, and then to love your neighbor as yourself. And so Jesus was saying that the most important thing is to love God with everything that you have, but then the way that we show it is by our interactions with the people that are around us, by learning to love the people that we're around. And that's a tall order, right? And so, like I said, I love this time of the year because like it's a fresh start, it's a chance to grow. And I hope for you and for me that it's the best year that we've had yet. I hope that you grow. I hope that you become a better version of yourself, as I'm trying to do. And if you don't know where to start, I just think these 4 things are a good place to get going. And so I just, I pray nothing but blessings for you. I hope that you stick with us as we're going to walk through the story of Jesus. And I look forward to see where it goes. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.